We are a people who have always based our power upon the sea and carried our treasure in ships. But now it is August 1940, and Churchill writes to Roosevelt, "The Germans have the whole French coastline from which to launch attacks upon our trade and food." For centuries we have fought power after power to keep the sea approaches clear and guard the shipping that brings home our wealth. And now not only wealth, but food and weapons, and every drop of oil needed to fight the encircling enemy both on the sea and in the sky above.
The fishing banks of the North Sea are in no man's land, and we put out to trawl our catch under the enemy's noses. Mines and foreign warships we've met before, but now they can come at us from the air. We've but some old aircraft to escort us, and balloons are our only armament.
Within a few weeks of the fall of Norway and France, the Luftwaffe attack from bases all along the coast, from the Arctic to the Channel, at the very throat of our sea lanes.
Alarm, Alarm! Fliegerabteilung bereit zum Angriff! Fliegerabteilung bereit zum Angriff!
In these first months, our fighter strength is small and at full stretch.
With the Battle of Britain going full tilt, we haven't had much time to help the convoys, even along the coast. Still, we have a bash whenever we can. One thing, though, about a dogfight close offshore. If you do go into the drink, there's a whole regatta laid on to pull you out.
Pilots may fly again, and home-based fighters drive the enemy beyond range of our coast. But this is only the center of a wider battle. The struggle for the Western oceans has begun. Now we know sea power is not enough. Wherever the enemy can threaten us at sea, we must use the air also for defense. To protect our shipping lanes, we need not only new aircraft, but new radar cover and new bases. We move into Iceland to establish an airfield and a flying boat base. Here, Fleet Air Arm walruses touch down on the Arctic Circle, and land planes are flown in from Britain. Here is our furthest north, and here we mount a frail guard over the enemy's northern gateway into the Atlantic. The decision for 1941 lies upon the seas. It is in shipping and in the power to transport across the oceans, particularly the Atlantic Ocean, that in 1941 the crunch of the whole war will be found. We look across the Atlantic for the modern aircraft we need for coastal command.
Canada herself is short of planes, but she is close to the aircraft factories of America. We haul in new aircraft from over the border. United States Hudsons bought under cash and carry. We tow them across with horses because we aren't allowed to take off from a neutral country. All through the winter, we fly them across the Atlantic to reinforce coastal command in Britain.
It is something still to fly the Atlantic at all. To cover the whole ocean with air patrols is far beyond us. From Britain, we can only provide close escorts for convoys in home waters, and the Navy has no carriers to spare. The range of our effective cover is therefore limited. Coastal Command and the Fleet Air Arm, both are small, but growing, learning. And we have some new weapons, including an airborne radar system called ASV, air-to-surface vessel.
Let's see how this ASV works. Suppose we are in an aircraft which is flying over the sea, and we make this aircraft send out radio waves into the air around it. For instance, the sea beneath the aircraft will reflect some of the waves. So will a ship or a submarine on the surface.
ASV was fitted to our first long-range squadrons, and patrols were flown up to 500 miles over the western approaches. Every patrol, a journey through day and night into an unknown, shifting world of waves and cloud, with life or death, or 1,000 miles of nothing below the horizon.
Beyond the range of coastal patrols, our raiders have all the sea in which to hide and hunt. Deutschland, Graf Spee, Bismarck, Hitler, Prince Eugen, Tirpitz. Since the first day of war, we have sent them far out along the trade routes to find and harry the Allied convoys. But sooner or later, every raider must return to Europe.
to the dark coasts of Norway or the ports of France. Then we can use such air power as we have to find them and pin them down with bombs. Or if they escape again, track them into the guns of our fleet.
May 1941. Aerial reconnaissance finds Bismarck and Franz Eugen about to sail from Dobrik Fjord near Bergen. The chase begins.
Well, the Navy had a belated report of a possible raider in Bergen the day before yesterday. So we laid on those searches on the Norwegian coast, and also those patrols, you see, 5, 1, and 2, between Iceland and Norway, in case she tries to break out.
Corporal. Will you plot this on the map, please?
22nd of May, the first round. 12 light bombers of Coastal Command go out unescorted to attack the 2 German ships in their home waters.
This attack failed. The enemy ships disappear into the cloud and dark of the North Atlantic. Two days later, they are found again by the Navy between Iceland and Greenland.
The second round. One of our Sunderlands watches and reports the Northern Sea battle. A naval force, including the Hood and the Prince of Wales, engages the 2 raiders. The Bismarck is hit, but covers the escape of the Franz Eugen.
A tragic and indecisive battle. The search goes on.
2 days later, one of our Coastal Command flying boats regains contact with the Bismarck out in the Atlantic. We signal her position to the Navy, and the home fleet closes in.
Swordfish from the R.A.F. cripple the raider's steering and bring her to bay. The last round, and the end of a campaign. The hopes of Germany's heavy ships die with the Bismarck. They, at least, will not fight again in the Atlantic. But all the while, the greatest danger lies under the sea, in what we call the North Atlantic Gap, the 1,000 dark miles between the furthest range of air cover from Britain or Canada.
Successful operations are perfectly possible against convoys heavily escorted by surface craft, so long as Allied aircraft are not in evidence. In the first 2 years of war, the Allies have admitted losing 3 million tons of shipping to our torpedoes and guns. In this way, we will slowly strangle them.
By the end of 1941, we were building 5 U-boats for every one sunk. Our best crews were gone, but our numbers were 10 times greater. By 1942, we were launching over 20 submarines every month.
Admiral Dönitz has 100 U-boats at a time in the Atlantic and another 100 in reserve. As the Allies pour more and more into the Atlantic lifeline, so we increase our attacks.
From the Atlantic Charter meeting a few months ago have come new hope and determination. The former naval person, Winston Churchill, has said, "The battle of the Atlantic must be won in a decisive manner. It must be won beyond all doubt."
In 1942, we built 2 million tons of shipping in British yards. The Americans built 5 million. The Germans sank about as much tonnage as all that put together. So, we went on building more.
As the U-boat war rises to its peak, Britain and the United States join forces against the Axis.
In the States, we're producing enough to fill the holds of 15 convoys a month for Britain. But in the past 5 months, we've lost 100 shiploads. So we have to get the arsenal of democracy organized. The more we load, the more we lose. General Marshall reports, the losses by submarines off our Atlantic seaboard now threatens our entire war effort. So we start sending our stuff around in convoys, like the British have been doing all along from Halifax up north in Canada.
Whatever the losses, the loading goes on. The convoys are routed, the naval escorts formed. By the summer of 1942, the Battle of the Atlantic Gap is at its height.
Royal Canadian Air Force Base, Eastern Air Command, Goose Bay will provide escort for convoy HX-15 eastbound from Halifax.
As Commodore of Convoy HX-15, I hold my captain's conference the night before we sail. There are 45 of us. Escort, destroyer, and corvettes. Convoy speed, 12 knots. Destination, Liverpool. First day out, met our escort group at 1000 hours. Air cover all day.
Hello, Codfish. William 305 answering. We're receiving you better now. How's it all going? Sure glad it's you, not me, down there. No stomach for your kind of life. Over.
We're going fine. Only just started. Carry out patrol XZ. That's AF miles, please. Over to you.
Okay, fella. Anything you say. Good hunting. Good luck.
Second day out, air escort left us 1430 hours. On our own now for the next 1,000 miles or so. Third day out, latitude 50 north. Wind freshening. Heavy bow seas. No trouble yet.
day out. Escort picked up U-boat on the Aztec and dropped depth charges.
Fifth day out. We have fed our sea for 1,000 years, and she calls us, still unfed, though there's never a wave of all her waves, but marks our English dead. We have strawed our best to the weed's unrest, to the shark and the shearing gull. If blood be the price of admiralty, Lord God, we have paid in full. Ninth day. The air bases of Britain are still half an ocean away.
We're especially glad there's so many sergeants here. Honestly, if there's one thing we love to see out there, it's sergeants. It's the only time they sit down, shut up, and listen.
Pay attention, please. Will the crew of Sunderland, T for Tommy, report to their aircraft immediately? The captain and navigator report to the operation room. I will repeat that. Will the crew of Sunderland, T for Tommy, report to their aircraft immediately? The captain and navigator to report to the operation room. That is all.
Cheerio, boys, and all the best.
On the 9th night, the convoy is coming within range of Coastal Command. For the naval escorts fighting off the U-boats, there will soon be reinforcements from above.
Well, there hasn't been anything else unusual, except that long med flight, number 12, out in the Atlantic. What's that all about?
That was specially laid on for Air Ministry. It should meet convoy number 15, too. And I've left a note here in the log for you to tell the SASO if they do get a sighting report.
There were 33 of them left when we found them. They'd lost 12, sunk by then. They shouldn't lose any more while we were around.
Tenth day out. Sunderland from Port Rush stayed with us all day. Felt more comfortable. 11th day out. Sunderland escort relieved by Catalina.
What is this ending? Look no wheelie under. Tell him yes. U-boat astern!
As air and naval forces work together with increasing strength, we have, at last, a hope of beating the U-boat.
Hello, Skipper. Charlie here. Target 1 mile ahead, slightly stop. Moving starboard. You're on course. Target 3/4 mile, dead ahead. Okay, I can see it now.
Stand by, all gun positions. Here we go.
this is a mad war between birds and fish. We live in different worlds and meet on the surface of the water only to kill or to be killed.
"13th day. Lay to in Mersey estuary at dawn. Those that are left of us.
But dawn is only the start of another day of war. Another convoy brought home is not the end of the battle. Even the cargoes have not finished their journey, but must be shipped on to other fronts in other lands. And the end of a patrol is only an end of a beginning. For victory is still hull down on the horizon.